and people would find them terrifying, but they can only hear the sound of herring frying. The herring horde, though brave young fish, are doomed to fail their mission. The herring king's a fierce beast, but not a great tactician. The fellas never been in doubt, but for their king's kudos felt they. Their dreams of conquest from off top, and now they are an arms race. The herring horde arise, the herring horde arise. The people and people would find them terrifying, but they can only hear the sound of herring frying. Herring frying. Herring frying.
All right, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 2 of the Herring Hotline, season 2. Hashtag thicker and saltier. Yeah, crazy. This is the first live one back at the original set here. We did the last one on the spot, so it was like updated after the fact. We didn't do it live because of bad Wi-Fi or no Wi-Fi. But yeah, so hopefully you guys like that episode. This is episode 2. So welcome. And first we'll go over some sponsors. Pretty excited this year. O'Neill decided to send me some stickers and stuff for the show. So shout out to O'Neill. Best wetsuits in the world. And they also make really nice stretchy pants that I tried that are really nice. So if you like stretchy pants, O'Neill, stretchy pants. Other guys, first one to really get behind the show, big believers in herring. They invented the herring hotline spork notch supply. Shout out to the guys over there. They're handmade by robots in Tofino and made of bamboo. And you can literally see they put a little tiny bow tie on the herring there. So that's pretty neat. Nude. I ran out of all the nude tequila ones, and I did have time to go to the store before this, but they're not actually a sponsor of the show, just a big fan. I'm making my own homemade nude today, which is SodaStream and the cheapest tequila that was at the store. So, not as good as the nude, but, you know, it's all the same at the end of the day. Hi, Timmy. And then, of course, the reason why we're all here, Brunswick Seafood Snacks. Now, there's some controversy, which I'm sure you all are aware of. Yeah, it's sardines now, so I have, this is actually some of my savings of the herring. So they've switched it over to sardines, which is backwards, but whatever. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I don't think it tastes as good. Marcus Palladino says it tastes better, so maybe it's not the end of the world, but this is the herring hotline, and by God, we'll stand behind the herring till we die. And I'm going to be eating mostly sardines, though, because I'm trying to save the herring. I'm going to be giving them out special giveaways and things like that because, all the herring fans out there are pretty stoked on the herring. I dropped that. Sweet. So my guest today, I don't know if she's signed on yet. Oh, she is? Okay, cool. Is a commercial fisherwoman, a fish lover / enthusiast. She is a part of the World Food Security Committee since 2016. She is the only young female fisherman at the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, amongst so many other crazy stuff that she does. She's just a really nice lady who loves fish. So I'm going to bring her on now. Hello.
Hello, was that My time.
Yeah, you're on. What's up?
Hi. It's good to see you.
You too. Uh, T, may I call you T or Tiare? I don't know what you prefer, but for the show and all the fans out there.
Tea. I prefer tea.
Okay, T. Well, welcome to the Herring Hotline. This is exciting to have someone who actually knows something about fish and stuff on the show. Everyone's really excited to have you here.
Well, thank you so much for having me on here. I mean, this is the biggest thing I've ever been a part of, and really, this is the first time I've put on makeup since February. So I'm feeling like I'm ready for, you know, the Emmys. It's very exciting.
It's bigger than the Emmys, I think.
I think you're right.
So I understand you've got a little smorgasbord of herring with you. You've got some mustard, which is interesting. That's never been on the show before. And what else do you have?
Well, so I've got the old school herring in hot sauce.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very excited. And then I have sardines in mustard sauce.
Ooh.
So I've never actually eaten these before.
Well, this is exciting. I always like when people have it for the first time on the show because you get to really see what's going on in their head while they eat it. Especially the mustard sauce one. Like I don't even think I've seen that one before. So you have like a rarity.
So should I try both? Which one should I start with?
Whichever one you're more comfortable with. Like I want you to be comfortable. So, start with, maybe we'll build up to the mustard unless you're like a big mustard lady and you just want to go ham on the mustard, whatever you prefer.
I want to correct your introduction. Appreciate your hype and all that. I am not a part of the World Committee, Food Security Committee. I have been involved on the private sector mechanism at the Committee on World Food Security, which happens each year. So I'm not actually that important. I just show up to things I'm not invited to.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. I don't take notes very well sometimes.
No, nobody would know that. So, okay. So cracking.
Yeah.
I'm starting with the hot sauce.
Nice. Hot sauce is an aggressive one. I've had it a few times, and it's the hot sauce is pretty. It's not that hot, but I don't know. It's like a really weird type of hot sauce they used.
You're really selling it here, Kurt.
Well, the golden smoked is kind of like the staple, so the other ones are kind of weird. Ooh, yeah, and I recommend, unless you're feeling ballsy, to just leave this on. If you try and pull the top part off, it usually sprays oil everywhere, so you got to be careful.
Oh, good. Thank you. I appreciate your tips for a first timer like me.
Fair enough.
Okay. Should I?
Do you want to try the sauce first?
So I don't have a spork. This is actually the only reason why I'm on this show is I'm hoping to get a spork at the end of this.
I will get you a spork.
So I just got a boring fork.
I will get you a spork. Hear that, guys at Notch Supply? Get this lady a spork.
Oh, well, it's quite good.
Oh, really? You like it?
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's quite nice.
What are you experiencing right now?
Well, I've got some crunchy bits. It's nice to see that like the bones and the scales and stuff are in here because that's good for you. Yeah, I mean the hot sauce it's a little spicy. It's got a little kick, but it's nothing that I'm afraid of. It's certainly not Frank's Red Hot or anything like that, or Valentino's, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely like some weird. I feel like it's like the no-name President's Choice, like hot sauce or something. It's not. It's definitely not Frank's. It's something weird.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. So, what's your record now for number of sardine cans eaten?
It was 8.
Well
I think
done.
it was 8. It was it was hard. It was not nice.
I'm really enjoying this. I don't think I could do 8, but this is really good. I'm surprised.
Nice. So, what do you have paired with your herring today? Did you get any sort of wines, tequilas, or?
Yeah, so I've got, I think, a very traditional seafood pairing. I've got some creme de menthe.
Whoa.
Just kidding.
What is that?
No, I've got some Icelandic aquavit, brennivin. It's called Black Death over there because it's pretty
and
strong.
What is it?
It's aquavit. So aquavit with, is that how you say it? I don't know.
Never heard of it before. It sounds fun.
Yeah, it cuts. I thought I needed something to kind of cut through the herring flavor, and I didn't have any tequila. So, cheers.
All right. Cheers. Tink. Yeah, there's no sound, but
Ting ting.
interesting. That's actually like probably the best herring pairing anyone's ever brought on the show, though. Like that's the Icelandic stuff. Legit call. Like some people don't even bring a herring pairing; they just go all herring. There's no pairing.
Oh God, all herring, no pairing.
Mm-hmm.
No, you need, especially during a global pandemic. I mean,
I know what else do we have to look forward to?
yeah, exactly. But herring and pairing.
Mm-hmm. Now that the elections are over, we can just eat herring.
I'm into that.
Mm-hmm. So, T, as a fish enthusiast, what's your favorite fish, and is it herring, and why?
Well, I have many favorite fish. I don't like to choose a favorite, but herring are amazing fish. I mean, they're incredible. They're so cool. They're scales. They're very silvery scales, and they're really hard to get off. Have you ever had to scrub a herring skiff at the end of a season? Really difficult to get off. They get everywhere. But they're shiny. That silvery color comes from guanine crystals, which according to Google is a type of nucleic acid. So I think you have a huge market here. I mean, crystals are hot. Herring's hot.
Mm-hmm.
What's better than, healing crystal herring products? Maybe
Jesus
like
Christ.
a smudge stick or something?
Yeah, like you could, like, would you literally make a stick out of herring and like smudge it on
Yeah,
people?
yeah, yeah. Maybe like a little exfoliant with the scales. Maybe
And
that
the bones.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the slime. You could kind of do like a treatment with the slime. Just leave it on there.
It's
I mean,
natural.
I'm actually 64, but because I've been commercial fishing for most of my life, the slime just makes me look much, much younger.
So slime is your secret.
Yeah, that's what Shania Twain uses.
She's amazing.
She looks amazing. Everything's amazing about her.
I was just listening to some of her music, and it's great. And so she herrings. That makes so much more sense. No wonder I like her so much. So, transitioning from favorite herring, or favorite fish, which is herring, or well, you like all fish. You don't want to generalize, but I appreciate the sentiment towards herring. What is your spirit fish?
Excellent question. I mean, I've always really identified with harbor seals just because of their body shape, and they always look like they've eaten the last piece of cake. They're sitting on rocks, kind of. But if we're talking about fish, I have to say, Grunt sculpin, brilliant fish. At first glance, they kind of look like evolution got drunk one night and decided to create this fish that doesn't have any webbing on its pectoral fins, and they're kind of like triangular shaped, and they've got this really weird coloring. So you look at them and you're like, how have you survived? They're like not great like long distance swimmers, which I'm not either. And then you learn more about them, and their pectoral fins that don't have any webbing are used for like walking along the bottom, and they make little grunting noises, which, getting off the couch sometimes these days, I make some pretty old person noises. And the females will they live in giant acorn barnacles, and that's kind of what they look like. They look like a barnacle with fins, and the females will corral a male inside an empty barnacle, and they'll keep them there until they fertilize their eggs. Then the females will fuck off and leave the males to raise the eggs. So.
And then they go find another like acorn barnacle. How big are these things? I was envisioning something like a normal, like, I guess I don't know what normal is, but like
It's not a salmon.
They're
It's
small.
about that big. Yeah.
That's a big barnacle then. I
Yeah,
thought barnacles
giant
were
acorn
small.
barnacles are huge. Oh, I've got one. One sec.
You have perfect. Wow, we're so close. Oh wow.
They make good apartment buildings.
For trapping men.
But I mean, there's so many fish out there that are so cool, and there's even singing fish. We have singing fish, plainfin midshipmen. You can hear them, like the males will sing to the females, and they
How do
have
you say their name?
bioluminescence. Plainfin midshipmen.
Midshipman. Okay.
Because they have bioluminescent little dots on their belly, and they're in the shape of the early 19th century British naval midshipman's uniform, and so they're called plainfin midshipmen. And so the males, there's two types of males. So one male will sit under a rock and sing, and it's actually they're like strumming their swim bladder, and it creates this low humming noise. And in the United States, in San Francisco, a bunch of people who live on their boats, a bunch of yachties, got together and started complaining to the local government, saying, like, you've got to stop this construction or this noise or whatever you're doing. Like, we can't sleep at night. And they did an investigation into it, and it was plainfin midshipmen who were singing for females. You can hear it on land.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, it's so cool. So the females will come, then they'll lay their eggs in the male's hole, and the males will fertilize them, and they'll take care of them. Again, the female fucks off. But there's type 2 male who follows the sound of the type A male and will hide in the nest until a female comes, and then it'll sneakily fertilize her eggs, and they're just as successful. It's just as successful reproduction as the other type of male.
So they just kind of like hang out.
Mm-hmm.
They're
much
sing.
smaller. Mm-hmm. No, they don't even sing.
Sneaky.
Mm-hmm. You can actually in the spring see them. If you go down to the intertidal zone here and you flip over a rock, you'll see like some
they're up
red
here?
eggs.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Singing fish.
Mm-hmm. Allie Parker asked, how many males can a female take on in a lifetime?
Yeah,
Good
did you get like
question,
a stable of like fish whores, kind of like, but male whores?
It's an excellent question. I don't actually know how long they live, so as many as she likes. It's 2020.
Yeah, get while the getting's good, I think is really, 2020. Mm-hmm. We don't know how long this is going to last.
We might all die tomorrow. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, that's super cool. I didn't know that fish could sing, but like you can actually, when you said it, I thought it was like maybe like you couldn't like actually hear it and it was just vibrations, but people actually can hear it from land. Can you hear it up here, or are they like just particularly loud in San Francisco?
So I've never heard it myself, but apparently you can hear it here. And in some places it actually like reverberates off tin sheds and stuff, and so it'll actually amplify the sound.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So back to herring. Is herring sustainable as a diet, you think?
Well, I think it's important to acknowledge that there are many distinct populations of herring, not only in the Atlantic and the Pacific, but each population is assessed differently, and each population should be regarded as different populations, and each population, DFO does surveys on it. I think a lot of people like to paint fisheries with the same brush. There's a lot of misconceptions out there that all fisheries are bad and all that, but it's definitely not true. It's like saying all forms of agriculture are bad, and it's not true either. But I think the best way for people like us to understand what is sustainable and what is good to eat is by looking for the eco-labels. So we have, the Marine Stewardship Council eco-label, Oceanwise, other eco-labels, and they do the research for us. So they look into, like the MSC looks at the fishery management policies, the monitoring and the enforcement of the regulations, if there's a scientific-based stock assessment, labor practices. So I think herring can definitely be a part of a sustainable diet. And actually, when you're looking at low-impact diets, it's important to consider that some forms of agriculture are quite water-intensive and contribute a lot of CO2. And so actually a diet that is high in aquaculture, such as bivalves and things like, or oysters and mussels and stuff like that, as well as low fuel requirement fisheries, can actually be less of an impact and on the environment than some forms of agricultural based diets.
Crazy.
So if you want to save the world, save a soybean and eat an oyster.
Interesting. Yeah, and oysters are such a big thing around here too. Like we have like Fanny Bay oysters and everything, and they're like a huge oyster company. So that's actually kind of interesting. So oysters are good for the environment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're such a low. You don't have to feed them, or for the majority of their life, you put them in the water, and in some cases they can actually have a good impact in the water because it filter feeds, and you do have to be careful with agricultural runoff and things like that. But yeah, the oysters that we have here in BC, I think we're really lucky to have such amazing companies. And
one thing I learned about one of the oysters, I can't remember what their name is, but they're like the small round ones that are like golf balls. They actually put them in a tumbler machine to create that like trademark size. And they're like more expensive than normal oysters apparently, but they like tumble them, and as they're growing, like I don't know if they do it like periodically or whatever, but it causes them to grow. It's like jar cats, but not as bad. So like I thought that was really cool because like just have so much oyster stuff here. It's crazy.
Oh, Will wants to know about microplastics in oysters.
Good question, Will.
That's an excellent question. I have no idea.
I
think microplastics in everything nowadays.
Yeah, like we're like 30% plastic or something at this point.
Yeah, I mean, some of us more with Botox and breast implants, but
yeah, you go to LA, it's probably like 80% plastic people. So like what? Oh, where am I at here? So what is like not being talked about when it comes to sustainability in our oceans right now? There's like you said, there's so many factions and stuff going on. Is there like issues that aren't necessarily like hot button mainstream fake news, whatever you want to call it, that we should be talking about?
Absolutely. I mean, the last FAO report on food security stated that 820 million people are either hungry or food insecure around the world, and in Canada it's 8.3%.
That's crazy.
I know it's inexcusable, and I think a lot of times I go to these international events and things like that. Again, not invited. I just show up because anybody can show up.
They should invite you.
They started inviting me after the first year.
Nice.
Most of the conversations are surrounding agriculture, and even though seafood is the most traded commodity in the world, and 6 billion people depend on it for their livelihoods, it's not a part of the conversation. To me it's crazy. I think there is a lot of negative misconceptions about a lot of fisheries around the world. Today, here I made some notes. Where is it? So 33% of fisheries are overfished or overexploited, and 60% are fully exploited, which means that they're harvested at a sustainable rate. Now, sustainable means harvesting enough to meet the nutrition demands of today without sacrificing the population or the demands of tomorrow. So, a lot of people see these headlines and they see like all fisheries are overexploited or are fully exploited, and fully exploited isn't actually, a bad thing.
Yeah, because that sounds like it's worse than it is. When you say fully exploited, I'm like, it's bad. But like,
and that sounds awful. Yeah.
But that means like that's like perfect. You like hit it on the line where it's like you're taking as much as you possibly can without damaging the actual ecosystem.
Exactly.
Wow. They need to change the word.
Yeah. I mean, like obviously we have a lot of stuff we can work on in fisheries and in our food systems around the world, but I think we need to work with all the tools in our toolbox to address food insecurity, not just one side.
So, like, what areas are being sustained well enough that they, like, is there something that Is there any fish that's like overabundant that they can just go for, like go ham on?
There is about 7% of fisheries are underexploited, so that means that they're not being harvested to a great extent.
So
And
this is like the stuff that's on like the weird like sushi restaurant menu, like at the back.
well, I mean, yes and no. Like sea cucumbers are not commonly eaten here, but around the world, other countries eat them, and in some places they're actually experiencing overfishing. So,
Really?
well, have you ever tried sea cucumber?
I've had like goudak, which is like a type of, or it's like a no, no, okay, no, then no, I have not.
I never tried it either. I really want to try it. I have tried goudak though. Pretty good.
Goudak's cool. It's like a, I don't know, it looks like a big weird dick thing, but
Very phallic. Yeah.
yeah, no. But I've had goudak pie. Goudak
Ooh.
pie is cool.
Goudak, like kind of like a chicken pot pie kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, really good. And then
Yes, I had-
pickled.
Oh, nice. I had goudak ceviche.
Ooh.
Somebody made it for me. I could not have done it.
We have a fan submitted question there.
What fish would be the first in our lifetime to be extinct?
Ooh.
I don't know. There has been fish go extinct before, but I don't know which ones.
Oh, it's a dark question, Timmy.
Unfortunately, a lot of fish in freshwater systems are particularly vulnerable to human impact. So, pollution, agricultural runoff, habitat destruction, which is one of the reasons why herring are such fascinating fish, because they do their business like right offshore, and so we can see them making babies, and it's so cool. Like it changes the water, and you can see like all these animals come in and feast on it, and it's so cool. But it also makes them more susceptible to shitty things humans do.
Yeah, it is crazy when they spawn. The water like changes colors and everything. I know when you're like surfing or just in the water in general during that time. Which is that soon or no? That's in the spring. But yeah, it tastes like weird. The water tastes.
Crazy!
Yeah.
Herring sperm.
Yeah, I guess it tastes cummy, but it's yeah, but like it looks cool at least. You know, the water looks all emerald and stuff.
It looks tropical. I liked some of the drone photos. I was filming a documentary on herring this year, and so it was really cool. I got to be in the water and filming stuff. Oh, Timmy says, "What's the coolest place you went diving?" T. Well, recently I see Colton is on here. Recently, I was working with Colton on filming a documentary TV series, and I got to dive in Slocan Lake, which was so cool. And we dove off an old mill, and there was just like thousands of old logs there, and you were just swimming between like this tree graveyard, and they were all like scary. It was so eerie. But I think the coolest place to go diving is in BC or Alaska. This is the best diving in the world.
That's crazy. You wouldn't think like, I don't know, when you think of like scuba diving, you think of here as kind of like dark and cold, and then like you want to think like Great Barrier Reef and all the tropical places where it's all bright colors, but it's better up here.
I mean, I like it better. It is dark and cold. But check out my Instagram for some photos of charismatic microfauna here on our coast. We've got incredible colors. We've got bright red corals and bright yellow sponges and kelp forests, which are just the most beautiful thing in the world. It's like swimming through a forest. You're like flying through this forest, and like there's fish everywhere, and the sunlight's like rippling through the fronds. It's like gold stained glass. Like, that's my church.
Crazy. Yeah, no. So are most of your photos on Instagram from up here? Do you have, because like some of those look like they should be like crazy tropical places, but they're not?
Most of them are from here. I've got a few pictures of sea turtles and stuff, but obviously aren't from here. But most of them are from here.
Crazy. Yeah, because for those of you who don't know Tiare's Instagram, you should check it out, because like there's like really cool like underwater photos of all these crazy fish. It's pretty cool.
It's a good plug. Thanks.
Yeah. How's your?
So how many? Go ahead. Sorry.
How's your herring going?
Oh, good. I'm finished.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
Really?
Yeah.
Weird. Okay, because like I didn't like that one, but it's just the world of herring is so diverse. Like I can hate something and you can love the thing. Like you could try the herring, like the golden smoke. That's my favorite, and you might hate it. So like
I'd like
diverse.
to try it. I did try. Oh, you know what? I lied earlier when I said I'd never tried it. I tried the tomato one, and it was truly vile.
Yeah. Okay. Good. We agree on that. Then the tomato one is bad. I have.
It sounded
one here.
really good. Oh yeah.
I don't intend to eat it. It's just here.
So, do you ever experience any like herring side effects? Is your coat glossier? How are your bowel movements?
After the show, it's pretty normal. I think because it's mostly meat. I don't know. Like I think if maybe I was like washing it down with a lot of like grainy stuff, it'd probably be pretty gnarly, but pretty solid. I think the herring's kind of like a lubricant, just like everything just like slides out. I have woken up like this. Yeah, so like because this is the second episode of the season, I'm probably not like super acclimatized, but the first episode I ever did, I woke up with like the craziest night sweats, and I was like, I stunk like herring. It was crazy.
I was gonna ask that. Do you smell like herring?
Mm-hmm. Like cats. We have cats here that come to the house.
I was gonna say, is that why you're so popular with the neighborhood cats?
Yeah, we stopped the herring hotline and the cats stopped coming. No, and cats. Like literally yesterday, there was a cat in front of our place. We didn't see one in like 6 months. I'm like, what the fuck? They know. They must follow me on Instagram.
So I think I'm gonna go ahead and open these sardines.
Do it. I'm really curious about this one. I'm really excited actually.
I mean, I feel like they could do with less plastic in their packaging, but
fair enough. Yeah, the cardboard is very classy these days.
Oh, it's a different color. It's more.
Oh,
looks
wow.
more like a fish.
Yeah. Oh, you're oozing out.
It's okay. It's okay.
I always have like a bunch of shop towel everywhere. And
I've got some paper towel.
Good call.
So, do you feed the stray cats? Do you feed them herring?
Yeah, they love it. Probably not anymore though, because herring is such a scarcity from this particular brand. Maybe I'll experiment. Yeah, exactly. But I don't think they care. Maybe they'll like sardines more. I'm not. We'll see. We'll see what the cats say.
Dylan, you're right. They are. It is creamy. Very good.
Is it good?
Very good. Mm-hmm.
And like what?
Mustard.
In what way? Because like you're saying they're like these are all good, but like what? They got to be different. Like you gotta just. I want to know what's going on.
I mean, more descriptive words. Okay. Well,
what's the mouthfeel?
I feel like the first can was more fishy, but not in like a bad way. It was more dry, but I really liked the hot sauce on it. It was a nice sort of kick, and it kind of tasted like there was a little bit of a tomato base in that one. This one literally looks like somebody just unloaded a bunch of mustard in here. And so it has a very strong mustardy taste, but I love mustard.
Okay, good.
It's good. More like whole fish. It looks like there's 3 fish in here. And I can see like its innards and stuff like that. So it's less fishy. It's a bit moist compared to the first one. But overall, it's enjoyable.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I noticed they have similar but different like health properties, the herring versus the sardines. Like like in this particular case, there's 18 grams of protein, whereas there's 17 for the herring. So the sardine has more protein. The omega-3s are the same, but there's way more vitamin D in herring, which is kind of interesting. Like you're going from 20% vitamin D to
100%.
This one says 70 on the front.
Oh, I've got 100% in the mustard.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, the mustard is way more than.
Gotta get that D.
Yeah, seriously. Apparently, the vitamin D is crazy important right now for COVID and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. But yeah, overall, I find the sardine is a little drier and tougher, but the herring was like softer and kind of like melted in your mouth more. And it varies. Every can is so different. The sardines sometimes have like a dog food taste to them, whereas like the herring is usually just like really fishy or not as fishy. I don't know. So they're still good, but it's like, I've had the Cadillac, and then they forced me into like the I don't know, the entry level vehicle that I'm not as happy with. And maybe if we started the other way around, I wouldn't be saying this, but it's I felt like I had paradise.
Well, I've got a question for the fans. Sardines on pizza? Yes or no? Or is that anchovies? I forget.
Anchovies, I think, is the classic, but honestly, like sardines is not a bad option. I've had herring in, it's like a quiche, salty, pretty good with the cheese.
What's your favorite fish to eat? I mean, besides herring.
Favorite fish? Probably probably tuna. I feel like tuna's so good.
Have you
I like
tried
sushi.
our albacore tuna?
Like our local? Yeah. Yeah, my friend Nick Riley, shout out to Nick, he goes tuna fishing usually once a year and gets a bunch of tuna and stuff, and we randomly get, like, around here when people do that, it seems like there's like an abundance of like tuna getting traded for stuff. So like we end up with, like, at one point we had a whole tuna that wasn't even gutted or anything. It was frozen solid. It was just in our freezer taking up all the space, and we had to take it to like a bandsaw and like cut it up. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Because it gets frozen as soon as it's on board to -30, and so it's sashimi grade.
that's crazy.
If anybody wants to check out, we've been getting some love here for some sardines. Tom is very against sardines on pizza. It's becoming heated.
Oh wow. Yeah, if you click on the words there, it it pulls up more, so you can see kind of, because they pass by pretty quick, I found. Garlic salted sardines. Where are you getting that from, Tivy? He's from America, so like they have so much more options there.
They're such an exotic culture.
They are exotic people.
Well, if you want to check out BC Caught Tuna, albacore tuna on Facebook, it connects you with fishermen who are looking to sell direct to people.
So it's like Tinder, but for fish.
Exactly. Yeah. If anybody wants to buy from fishermen tuna, which is absolutely delicious, either canned or frozen. It's also a very sustainable fishery and very low mercury levels because they're caught relatively early in life. Well, I've got some stringy bits here.
Whoa, what is that, you think?
I don't know how I feel about that.
What do you think it is?
It looks like a tentacle. It looks like a
Scared
squid.
tentacles, though.
What if it ate a squid?
Do they eat squid? I guess squid can be pretty small, so yeah.
I'm going to skip that bite.
Okay.
Eat around that part.
Since you've been kind of delving in, I'm going to pull out I'm going to try a different one. I've got some from the Orient that Amasai brought back. Oh yeah, this is a big one. Oh. I love the cans. I don't really want to like get rid of them. She brought it back from Italy, and this one's sardines. But like, look how cool the can is. It's all red and stuff.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's like art.
That is art. I think you should frame it.
That's a good idea. Wiggle Allie, it more for us.
I think she wants you to wiggle your body.
Could you see me in the screen? It's hard to go that far with the headphones still attached. I
think it might actually be the squid tentacle.
Ooh, yeah, jiggle it.
I've lost it.
Okay. Oh, wow. So this is like...
Oh, this is exciting.
Holy shit. Look at that. So it's like real fish. Oh, God, I'm going to spill. Hold on. Oh. It's like straight oil. This is from Italy. Gnarly. Wow. So this looks like it looks like they just hacked the fish in half. God, I don't want to eat.
Turning into Fear Factor.
Yeah, it kind of is. So like, look at that.
Those are fish.
I know. Like
Is
it's
there any flavor in it, or is it just
yeah,
fish
it's in olive
oil?
oil. And when I was drinking it, it was hot on the top and cold on the bottom, which I don't even. It was in a cupboard. Like I don't know why it would do that.
It's fermenting.
Yeah, but like
Zahara had a really good suggestion. She says you need a herring can tattoo.
I don't have any tattoos, but I have considered doing herring on my body. Miles Lohman was on the show, and I told him to
Awesome.
tattoo me on the show. I was willing to do it then, but
Didn't
apparently
work out?
there's some legalities involved. No,
Legal stuff.
I don't know. This is kind of gross. It's like really soft. It melts in your mouth, which you would think would be good, but with like, which I think it's the appeal, like how it looks when you go to take a bite out of it. It's really weird.
Yeah, see, the first can, the herring, I made it through with pleasure. This can, where it's a little bit more intact as fish,
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying it as much.
No. Yeah. I know it. The fillets are really nice because they're almost like they're like boneless. There's a little bit of skin on the back, but it's like they're very presentable and nice. These are definitely like pretty raw. So I don't know, another question. So we were kind of talking about like all the different factions and stuff like that of like the fisheries and everything. What is like the current state, if no, but it sounds like this is probably gonna be a really complicated question actually. But the current state of fisheries in Canada, because it seems like it's a shit show. Everyone's complaining, and I don't know. I just hear people complain.
Yeah, we can always do a better job, but there's a lot of amazing people who are working at the Department of Fisheries and Oceans Canada, and there's a lot of people who are working their friggin' faces off, and it is really easy to criticize, but I know there is a lot of excellent work being done, but there's a lot of work that could be done better. But overall, Canada uses a precautionary approach when it comes to fisheries management. So that means they're being cautious when scientific knowledge is uncertain and not using the absence of adequate scientific information as a reason to postpone action or a failure to take action. And it then avoids serious harm to fish stocks or the ecosystem. So when they don't know what the populations are doing, then they don't harvest as much. And I mean, it's very difficult to know for certain what's going on in our oceans. But Canada is actually a world leader, and we have some of the most rigorously monitored fisheries in the world. For instance, the halibut fishery, 100% at sea monitoring, 100% dockside monitoring, and yeah, I think there's a lot of good work being done. Again, there's a lot of work that could be done better, but that just means that we need to work harder and collect more data. I think that is that's my biggest concern for our fisheries in Canada, is that science isn't very well funded. And oftentimes it's up, which is ludicrous to the fishermen, to fund the stock assessment surveys, it shouldn't be in the hands of fishermen to fund it. I mean, it's independent and it's all above board, but yeah, I mean, I think every department right now needs more funding, but I'd like to see a lot more science being done, a lot more research being done, a lot more people who are interested and excited to get into fisheries management. It can be a little dry, but I promise you, it's really cool. I mean, the data that's being generated by some of our monitoring on our coast is so cool. Like we mapped out the spatial temporal shifts in the halibut fishery over time, and you could see like how they're avoiding yellow eye and stuff like that. And everybody's like, oh no, you can't continue to fish halibut because you're going to catch too much yellow eye. But fishermen did it. They reduced their catch by, I think in 2017 it was 60%. So, as long as we have good management incentives and that policies are taking into account how to implement sensible management policies, For instance, you can have a solution that works at a very high level, but when you bring it down to the fishermen, it doesn't make any sense. So we need to make sure that we have fishermen who are part of the decision-making process, and fishermen hopefully who want to go to school, there's a lot of, in agriculture, there's a lot of like agribusiness, agri-tech, and there's whole schools dedicated to that. And we need to have more young fishermen coming up and learning about management so that they can keep fishing, because I think it's so important for people to have that experience out on the water and bring that to the high level decision making levels. But yeah, I can go off about this for ages. So
one question that was brought up by a listener there is: are the current sea lion populations sustainable in regards to salmon stocks? This was like I think last summer it was brought up a lot about like overpopulation of sea lions and stuff like that. So that's an interesting one.
yeah, so there's a study going on right now. Really interesting results from the study. It's just a study going on right now, and they're looking into the diets of various pinnipeds on our coast. So sea lions, California sea lions, Steller sea lions, and harbor seals. And it varies by season, obviously. So I'm not an expert in this, but I don't think there is a clear line between lack of certain fish and abundance of pinnipeds. But what humans have done on our coast has really fucked with the ecosystems. So who knows what's going on? And I look forward to seeing the results of the study, because we need to take the time to make sure that we are looking into all of the different variables that are part of it, because marine ecosystem webs are so complex, and we can't just have a quick solution or a quick answer to things. We need to make sure that the science is being done, the data is being collected, and then they're taking time to evaluate that over time as well.
Yeah, so it kind of, the data isn't really out there yet, because so I would see both sides. I would see the charts of just like salmon consumption and rise in like pinniped and stuff like that. Like, I'm not an expert in any of this, but like I've seen the biased sides of like the commercial fishing side or sport fishing side of things, and I've seen the other side as well. So it's almost like there's just too much information, and they're just flooding it with like crap from both sides.
There's a lot of emotions involved in it, and I think it's really important to feel passionately about things. We do need to make sure that we are looking at the data and using our heads before we use our hearts.
So you're kind of saying basically they're studying it now, and they don't really have an actual consensus on what's going on?
As far as I know, no, I'm not a part of the working group. But okay. When I was in Iceland, we had a Norwegian sailing ship come, and they were a sealing vessel. They were the last Norwegian sealing vessel, which is a traditional food in Norway. And it was really cool. They had like a veterinarian on board who made sure that the seals were the right species and they were being killed humanely. And then they came to our university and they served us different types of seal. So there was like raw seal and seal ribs with barbecue sauce and other things. Personally, I have an emotional connection to seal, and so while I don't begrudge other people for eating it, to me it's like it's the same with octopus.
Did you eat one?
Not there, but I have had it. I had it on Penelkut Island. We had a working group go over there, and the indigenous band, they cooked a whole bunch of traditional foods, and it was like fishy lamb.
Yeah, it'd be like really oily, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it was very oily. Yeah.
Crazy.
I think it's probably good for you, but not my cup of tea. But I mean, it could be a sustainable resource if we're talking about harvesting sustainable protein from the ocean. As long as we do it humanely and we do it with science, then.
Yeah, I guess they're mammals, but like they're in the water. We can count them as fish. They could be like a sushi, like a seal sushi.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of products that are coming out from it.
Skincare. I feel like really some of the biggest takeaways from this whole talk has been like skincare products.
Absolutely.
Herring, seals.
And we know nothing.
And we know nothing.
in general.
Well, so we have about, what is it, 7:52? So we're going to be, I think, about 8 minutes here. But craziest thing you've seen underwater was one thing I wanted to know. Like, because you've done so much commercial diving and everything. Like, you've probably seen some crazy shit. What's anything noteworthy?
Yeah. So I dive in an area near Browning Passage, north of Port Hardy, and I go back and I visit the same wool fields over and over and over again over a number of years. And so I've gotten to know these individuals, even though you can't really predict what's going on and you don't want to anthropomorphize animals. But I've named one Waldorf after the Muppet because he looks like the old man Muppet. And him and his mate had a clutch of eggs. And I had been visiting this guy for a number of years. And
Like the same one? Like you knew it was the same guy?
yeah, he's got a scar on his face and they live in the same den. And so they had a clutch of eggs and I was down there with my dive buddy, Colton, if you're still on here. You were there. And this little tiny wolf eel shout out to Colton, just popped out and it was this little transparent wolf eel. And I looked at Colton and we both kind of got an excited look on our face and we looked back and it had swam away. But that was crazy. But also, I think the craziest thing that's happened to me underwater is having my whole head go in the mouth of a stellar sea lion in Alaska. And he just kind of gently squeezed my head, which was very uncomfortable.
Well, why would he do that?
I think it was just a display of dominance, making sure that he knows, because I'm continuously blowing bubbles, and sea lions blow bubbles as a sign of aggression, and so he probably thought I was trying to challenge him for his harem, but...
Another species that love herring.
Yeah.
Wow. So blowing bubbles is like fight. It's like fight words to seals and sea lions, but you scuba dive with them all the time. Or sea lions. That's kind of crazy. But they don't ever fight you. They fight people much. I don't hear of it happening much.
So they're kind of like a lot of people compare them to dogs. They don't have hands, so they use their mouth to explore people. So I've been chewed on a lot, and sometimes it really hurts, but I don't think it's in aggressive or a malicious way. I personally don't like diving with sea lions because they're wild animals, and it's usually I'm in charge of people's safety underwater because I'm with a group of people, so I find it very uncomfortable. But I know a lot of people love it, and they are very playful and cute, and they'll come up to you with like a starfish and drop it on your head, and kind of like they're playing catch and stuff like that. But yeah, actually, if you're aggressive to a sea lion, the sea lion will be aggressive back to you. But normally, if you just like put your head down and don't interact with them, they're completely fine.
So just like kind of like the bully tactic, just like avoid them and pretend they're not there, and they'll eventually leave you alone.
I've also found if you grab a sea urchin, being delicate to the sea urchin because it's a living animal, of course, but if you just hold it above your head where they're chewing on you, they understand that sea urchins aren't good to chew on, so they kind of leave you alone.
Weird. Hot tip for all you sea lion swimmers out there. Sea urchins. Oh. Well, we're almost, it's crazy how an hour flies by, eh? Like, I feel like we were like 10 minutes in at one point and it seemed like it was like, I don't know, it seems like it was like 10 minutes and then literally a blink and now we're almost at the end of the herring hotline here, T. But one of my last questions was, can fish get COVID?
Excellent question. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're just as susceptible as we are, but I think they are better at wearing masks and at socially distancing than we have been, so it's not really a concern for them.
Interesting.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, well, how's your herring going? Is it sardines or herring?
It's the sardines.
Okay.
Like I said, I really enjoyed the first can, but these sardines and mustard they're not doing it for me.
The mustard ones are weird. You said mustard, and it was not what I thought you would want to do. But
I like the mustard. I like the mustard part.
Like, what is it like a Dijon or like is it like the? I can't remember what the brand name is. It's like the classic yellow squeeze bottle.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, it's like normal, like hot dog mustard.
Mm, weird. How
I
are you
wish it was
almost?
fancy mustard.
And have you?
No.
I don't think you've even had a drink from your Icelandic moonshine or whatever that is.
Oh, I definitely have.
Oh, you have? Nice. Well, we're a couple minutes away now, so I should probably start wrapping this up. Yeah, I don't know. That was awesome. That was super cool. You have so much fun fish information, and like everyone I have on the show has pretty much been like photographers and like surf-based people for the most part, and we just like talk about like herring and random stuff. But you have actually like this is the herring hotline, and you actually brought up things like involved with like herring and like fisheries and stuff. So this is probably like the most educational episode we've ever had. There's definitely been a lot of people commenting and putting hearts and stuff. Thank you. That's really nice. But I want to thank you for coming on the Herring Hotline. And I will definitely be getting you some sporks, some Herring Hotline special edition sporks. And I will give you a can of the herring as well. The actual herring
Wow.
ones, which you can't get anymore.
Kurt.
You can frame
Oh
it
God.
or eat it or both, whatever you prefer. But you definitely earned it. So proud of you.
Well, I appreciate that. And yeah, I appreciate you having me out here because usually nobody wants to hear me talk about fish. So it's been such a pleasure to have a captive audience. Usually people's eyes glaze over.
I think everyone that tuned in was fired up and stoked. And judging by all the comments and everything, it seems like we had a good one. So thank you for coming on, T. And thank you for everyone for tuning in. Herring Hotline, Season 2, Thicker and Saltier. T, you're the bomb.
Bye, Kurt. Bye, Amazon.
Bye. How do I? Okay, we're still live. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Yeah, that was awesome. A lot of knowledge there. We're gonna time out any second here. So